UFC Vegas 28. We look ahead to next week's card. Unfortunately, no UFC this weekend, but we still want to talk about it. The early predictions and betting preview. We'll go through the card. Definitely some picks may change, as next week approaches, the more and more we study these fights, but definitely have some basic knowledge of pretty much everyone on the card. So want to break it down, want to talk about it. Early predictions for UFC Vegas 28. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new here too. Let's scroll it down and let's look at that first fight of the night. Claudio Puelles versus Jordan Levitt. If you remember Jordan Levitt's UFC debut, the way he destroyed Matt Wyman was extremely impressive. This guy's grappling game is scary good because his wrestling is extremely good offensively and his submission game on top, super tricky. He's an interesting fighter at 26. I think he could work towards, the higher levels of the lightweight division. On the other side, 25-year-old Claudio Puelles, who likes to take fights to the floor too. He likes to grapple. Jordan Levitt's going to have the advantage. He's going to win this fight. I think he'll find a way to finish because the guy's kind of a finishing machine here. You look a TKO loss. I could see Jordan Levitt maybe with a TKO win in this fight in the second round, maybe in a submission. I think he finishes Claudio Puelles. So I think this fight does not go the distance here, and I think Jordan Levitt would win it. He opens up as a favorite, as expected. I mean, the excellent performance he had, minus 210, plus 175. The odds have definitely come a bit closer as these lines have opened up. Claudio Puelles, the dog, no props yet, of course. I think Jordan Levitt, minus 210. He'll be a good parlay addition or potentially a straight play, especially if you get him, towards that minus 200 price tag, minus 189. That would kind of be a steal for a guy with this level of grappling skills. Going Jordan Levitt, he wins this fight inside this distance here in probably the second round, I would say. Montana De La Rosa versus Ariane Lipski. This is a fun fight between these two girls, and I'll tell you right now, wrestling over the striking here. I'm going with Montana De La Rosa. She's going to get this fight to the floor. She's going to control Lipski. Lipski got dominated on the ground by Shevchenko. Shevchenko's not an elite level grappler. The girls she's beaten have not impressed me. She's a fun girl to watch for sure. I like to watch her fight. I think Montana De La Rosa grinds out a decision. I think we're looking at 3 rounds. Fight goes the distance here with Montana De La Rosa getting it done, winning the fight. That's how I'm thinking this fight does go down when we see it happen here. Let's look to more of the betting odds and see exactly what the lines are around. Minus 200, plus 170. As we always say, betting women's MMA is extremely risky, especially towards, the back end. Just crazy stuff tends to happen. I still feel like De La Rosa, with the grappling skill set, should beat Ariane Lipski. Really should beat her. Somehow, some way, there's always a chance. But I think more so likely we see Montana De La Rosa, unanimous decision win here over Ariane Lipski. That's the second fight of the night. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're watching live or on replay, if you haven't yet, smash the like button. Covering UFC Vegas 28. Looking ahead, and I'm getting excited as I look through this card and can't wait to dive even deeper into this. Alan Patrick, Mason Jones, athletic guy. Alan Patrick in his prime, he had some pretty good striking. The ground game's decent. He has some wins over fairly notable names, but 2 recent losses. Finish against Scott Holtzman. Not saying that that's the end of him if he's gotten finished. I think Mason Jones on the other side, though. Mike Davis is a pretty good fighter who's on a bit of a roll, and Mason Jones had good moments in that fight, even if Mike Davis definitely led the dance. I think he's going to beat the older Alan Patrick at 37. I think the career is probably towards the end, and his best days will be behind him. I am going Mason Jones in this fight. I do think his striking could potentially hurt Alan Patrick, but I don't necessarily think Patrick has a shot chin just yet. Leaning towards third round TKO Mason Jones right now. That's going to be my pick as of right now for the early prediction. Mason Jones, third round TKO over Alan Patrick here. He should win the fight. Cage Warriors prospect. He came over, Wales fighter, and he's looking to get some momentum going after that tough UFC debut against Mike Davis. The odds, though, where are the odds? Alan Patrick plus 250. Mason Jones minus 300. I would lean you towards not necessarily betting at the minus 300 tag for Mason Jones. I'd like to see it closer. He's an unproven guy, and he definitely could get beaten by the dog here. It's definitely a possible live dog in Alan Patrick. I'll be 100% honest here. I don't have that supreme confidence in Mason Jones. I think third round TKO, that's the prediction, but betting-wise, you do have to acknowledge Alan Patrick is a veteran of the game versus the newer Mason Jones. Let me quickly check up on that live chat. Yeah, let's get the money, pal. Tom Breeze, yeah, we'll talk about that fight a little bit later on. You already threw some money down, Levitt, Breeze, and Mason Jones, okay? It's a solid play there. And we'll talk about this fight here now. Featherweight division. Youssef Zalal, Sean Woodson. I really am looking forward to seeing these two fight. I think the striking match will be a lot of fun. I think on the odds, they're doubting Youssef Zalal a bit too much early. At the end of the day, he was recently a hot prospect on the rise. He's beating Peter Barrett, Jordan Griffin, and Austin Lingo in the UFC. Granted, not the most high level names, but I mean, he came into the UFC as a really hot prospect on a roll, and then Ilia Topuria beat him, Sang Woo Choi. You look at Sean Woodson on the other side, another guy newer to the game but was on an absolute money roll. He loses to Giuliani Rosa. That's not really a good loss. Granted, not the end of his career for sure. Young fighter, you can bounce back from it. 24 versus 28. It's tough to lean one way strongly in this fight. I think it's a very intriguing matchup. I have to lean Sean Woodson for creativity here. I'm going to pick the more creative Sean Woodson. I think on the striking, he's a little bit more unpredictable than Zalal, who's more technical with his kickboxing. I like Sean Woodson. I'm going to pick him right now for the early predictions. I think Sean Woodson does win this fight, competitive fight, and I do think he gets a decision win. I think that's probably how it ends up going. That's how he win against Bokniak. I don't necessarily think he goes out there and gets the knockout. I think competitive fight with Youssef Zalal. Sean Woodson beats him on a decision, uses that long reach there, 79 inches, to fight from the outside, maybe off a very nice jab like we saw with Rob Font. Let's see. Where is the fight between Youssef Zalal? All right, do they have the odds here? Not seeing them. There it is. Sean Woodson, Youssef Zalal. Minus 175 for Woodson, plus 155 Zalal. You can find it a lot wider than that. You can even find Zalal plus 188 as a dog. He's definitely going to be in the fight, and I do think it's fairly competitive, but I just feel like Woodson should squeak by with a competitive decision here, and I think he's going to win this fight and beat Youssef Zalal moving forward. Let's get to the next fight of the night. Tanner Bozier versus Ilir Latifi. We got the heavyweight matchup here. That's a bit interesting, and I'm going to say one thing. Yes, we see 3-fight losing streak, but Corey Anderson is a top light heavyweight in the world. Volkan Oezdemir is a top fighter and has a lot of punching power. Derek Lewis is a knockout savage fighting for the world title. Tanner Bozier is coming off a loss to Andrei Arlovski. I think he's capable everywhere. He's going to be taller at 6'2", but reach nearly the same. I really don't normally recommend picking like a guy like Latifi, thinking about his age, right? He's 37, but I feel like at heavyweight division, you come into your prime later. I think Ilir Latifi beats Tanner Bozier here, and I think he's an undervalued dog. I do think he's going to wrestle the hell out of Bozier. I think he'll find a way on top and find a way to control him. I think he wins the fight, unanimous decision. Ilir Latifi wins this bout against Tanner Bozier. I think he shuts down the striker here. Minus 190 favorite is Bozier. Latifi plus 165, plus 176, depending where you're going. I gotta say, I think it's unlikely you see Latifi knocked out here. I think he's going to find a way to get Tanner Bozier to the floor, and that's where he's going to take advantage. And honestly, he's not outsized here, so in the clinch, he's going to have the strength advantage. I'm feeling good, and Ilir Latifi to win the fight. Let's get it. Ilir Latifi. Let's move up these prelims. We got another one. Marina Moraes versus Manan Firyat. Both good strikers. Moraes with some submissions in the game as well. But Manan Firyat is unique. You watch her fight, it's not like Wonder Boy, but it's a little bit of that Wonder Boy-esque, more of that karate style. She throws those beautiful side kicks. She controls distance extremely well. And she's going to beat Marina Moraes here. And I think that Manan Firyat, if she can win this fight and they take her along at the right pace, she could really work towards fighting Valentina. We need a contender. Who's next for Valentina? Who out there? If Manan Firyat could put together maybe 3 wins, beat Moraes, beat another girl later this year, and then sometime next year win a high-level fight, I think she could find her way into the title shot in 2022. I think she starts it here with Marina Moraes. I think she wins this fight. Could be a TKO, but I got to respect the durability of Moraes. I think Firyat towards the decision win here. That's my prediction. I would like to see her get a knockout, but I think decision. I got to respect the game of Moraes at the moment. Could see a head kick knockout, though, in the 3rd round, so I could see later TKO, if anything. Let's see. Where are the odds for this one? Marina versus Firyat. Firyat's the favorite, -150 to +130. You find the odds sitting around those prices wherever you can get them at. Firyat, 5'7", but she uses the range extremely well. And I think she beats Marina Moraes here, but could be a tricky fight. Moraes hasn't fought in over a year. That was against Mayra Bueno Silva, who's a decent fighter. And, I mean, Marina Moraes beat her. But I think that Manan Firyat could be a hot contender. But we'll see. She's got to get past the gatekeeper and Marina Moraes here. We're riding with her. But we'll see when that fight comes up. Let's get to the next one. And, it's the main card. We've already made it there. So if you have not yet, smash that like button. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'll double check up on that live chat now. You think Kyle Bachniat would have KO'd Zabit if it was a 5-rounder? Could happen. What's going on, everybody, in the live chat? Yeah, Bieza, it's going to be sick. Good fight. Hey, man, I appreciate you tuning into the show. The females are the biggest risk sometimes, man. Sometimes you get some crazy risk with them. Firyat should dominate. She should, especially if she's a legit contender. She should, and I do think she will. Main card, let's get to it. So smash that like button and let's talk about it. Roman Dolidze, Laureano Starpoli. Starpoli coming up from 170 to fight at 85 against Dolidze, a former 205er who's jacked. Physically extremely strong. This fight is extremely one-sided. Roman Dolidze, the line is going to be bought up, so if you want to bet him, do it soon because he is a very good pickup at -155. He wins this fight. He's going to dominate. He's going to get it to the ground. I'm thinking submission round number 2, arm triangle for Roman Dolidze. That's like the Mystic Mac prediction right now I'm throwing out there. Could be way off, but it could be absolutely on the money, and we'll find out. We're shooting the shot there. Dolidze, arm triangle, round 2. He beats Laureano Starpoli, dominates him on the ground. But on the feet, Starpoli's dangerous. So if Dolidze can't get Starpoli to the ground, this fight could be going another way, and Starpoli's knocking him out. So as long as he lands those takedowns when he goes for it, we know how this fight is going. But if the fight starts and it goes the other way and you're a live bettor, you might want to throw it down on Starpoli if he's fending off takedowns. +135 Starpoli, -155 Dolidze. I like Dolidze here as long as he gets the fight to the floor. And we've seen Tim Means out-grapple Starpoli. And we've seen him also lose to Muslim Salikov. I think that Dolidze wins this fight. And I think he gets the fight to the ground. Submission, round 2. And worth a bet? I believe so. Next fight up on that main card, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Miguel Baeza. I really am excited to see Miguel Baeza take the step in the right direction. The UFC is doing a really good jump in competition. You look at how they built him up. I think they did it right. Contender Series. He wins. He looks pretty good. He beats Hector Aldana by a KO, a 4-2 fighter. The next fight, he's given Matt Brown, an aging guy. So they put him to the test early. Knocks out Matt Brown and recovers from being hurt. Showed the toughness and the heart to come back. And then dominates Takashi Sato. Submission victory in that one. Santiago Ponzinibbio at one point, top contender. And was near the top of the weight class. Injuries unfortunately kept him away. He comes back. Zhiliang Li knocks him out. He's over the age of 34. He's 34 in 8 months, so he's not 35 just yet. I don't feel like the career is over for Santiago Ponzinibbio, but his best days could very well be behind him because of the injuries. I got to ride Miguel Baeza here to win the fight by knockout. I got to go with the prospect. It's a tricky one to pick. Do you pick the old lion or do you pick the young lion coming up? I feel like he'll pass the gate in front of him, which is Santiago Ponzinibbio. Miguel Baeza moves to 11-0, stays undefeated, beats Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think he stops him inside of 8 minutes. So second round or less, I would say here. And I think Baeza will catch him with the punches after chopping away at the legs. And Ponzinibbio will be knocked out inside of 8 minutes. That's my play on that one as of right now. Let's see where the odds are at here. Minus 135, plus 115. If you can get it at close money, I think Baeza could be a play, but it's going to be the biggest step up of his life. If he wins, he's absolutely working towards being a contender in this weight class. A loss here is going to be a setback. He's still 28, so I think he's going to win it, though. I really do, and I think he's going to knock out Santiago Ponzinibbio, who's coming back off a tough knockout loss. Let's move to this next fight. Tom Breeze, Antonio Arroyo. I'm so surprised they brought Arroyo back. He lost to Duran Win by a unanimous decision, got controlled on the ground throughout. Granted, very good wrestler is Duran Win, but Arroyo didn't look great. He had a huge height and reach advantage, man. It was a serious size difference. Tom Breeze, knockout power in the hands. He definitely can box. Arroyo does have some decent striking, but gasses. He gasses, and it worries me that he gasses, especially against a guy like Tom Breeze, who's not a bad fighter by any means. He lost to Akhmedov, but that's just a hard fight. He lost to Brendan Allen, another hard fight. Split decision, lost to Sean Strickland. So when he fights strikers, he does pretty damn well. Arroyo, pretty much a striker here, does have some grappling, but majority striker. Tom Breeze is going to beat Antonio Arroyo. I do think he could put him out with the hands in the third round and win this fight by knockout. You got to respect the power of Tom Breeze. I'm going knockout round number 3. He fatigues Arroyo and stops him late. Tom Breeze, where is he at here? Where is Tom Breeze? The odds. Cannot find these odds. Here they go. Okay, minus 230, plus 190. Arroyo not expected to win. I think Breeze is a good pick, and he really should beat Arroyo. I also think he could get this fight to the ground and out-wrestle Arroyo, too, if he chooses to, if he's having any trouble on the feet. So I'm going with Tom Breeze to win this fight. Good card, fun card. This is going to be one of those sleeper cards that you didn't expect to have a lot of good action. We're at that co-main event, guys, so if you have not yet, smash the like button. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, especially if you're here live on replay. Either way, I appreciate the support. Let me check up on that live chat here. Furia should dominate. I agree. Not trusting Woodson after that loss to Arosa. I totally agree, and that is a risky play. It's a competitive fight. Delidze by sub, I agree. You think Santiago beats him? He definitely could. Yeah, I agree, man. I think Ponzinibbio is not the same. He's going to get knocked out, I feel like. Tom, yeah, Tom's a good pick, I think. Breeze should destroy him. We'll talk about this fight here right now. The co-main event, Walt Harris, very good striker, knockout power, fun to watch. Really tragic story what happened to his stepdaughter. Has bounced back from that, but hasn't bounced back with victory. Losses to Alistair Overeem and Alexander Volkov. He now gets a step down in competition and fights Marcin Tybura. 4-fight winning streak, controlling guys on the ground, iron chin. On the other side, dynamic striker, spotty takedown defense. This is the perfect fight for Marcin Tybura. He's going to beat Walt Harris. He's not going to get knocked out. He might take some damage, but his chin is pretty good, and he took Greg Hardy hits hard. Like, even if Greg Hardy isn't a great MMA fighter, he has a ton of power, and Tybura took everything and more. He also dominated Ben Rothwell when they got to the ground in that later stages of that fight. I got Marcin Tybura beating Walt Harris. I think he works towards a TKO in the second round. Towards the end of it, Walt Harris will gas because of the very chain wrestling style attack of Marcin Tybura. So I'm picking Tybura to win this bout. He could also potentially grab up a submission. Marcin Tybura. Let's see where he's at. Minus 155, plus 135. Line sitting all around there. I like Tybura a lot. I think he matches up extremely well against Walt Harris. Tybura is going to definitely be looking to wrestle here. Main event. The main event is an interesting one. And the matchmaking makes a lot of sense with Overeem and Junior Dos Santos both leaving the UFC. Jairzinho Rozenstruik is a top fighter at heavyweight, as is Augusto Sakai. Augusto Sakai was outstriking Alistair Overeem in that fight. We have to admit, Sakai's striking has looked very good. He peps a nice jab out there. He moves pretty well. You can stiff him at times. My fear is this: Jairzinho Rozenstruik, besides getting clobbered by Francis Ngannou, I mean, I do believe he has a fairly decent chin. And I think that this fight is extraordinarily competitive. It's a tricky one to pick. I feel like Augusto Sakai is just superior everywhere to Jairzinho Rozenstruik, besides truly in that knockout power. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik has a different type of power, not at the level of Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, but I still think he's a heavy hitter in the heavyweight division, heavier than Augusto. I fear that Jairzinho knocks him out in the fourth round. And Augusto Sakai loses, but I also feel like Augusto Sakai could get this fight to the ground and potentially wrap up a submission. As of right now, the early prediction on this one is difficult for me to pick. I've been thinking about it, and a lot of thought has gone into it, and I got to go with Sakai. I think Sakai is technically superior, and he finds a way to submit Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but I think Rozenstruik could also have value with a knockout prop if it's not too bad the other way. I got to go with the dog Sakai here to win this fight in the main event. I think he does it, and I think he does it potentially by submission. His ground game is not bad. At the end of the day, he's beaten a lot of top guys. He's fought well with them. Granted, doesn't have the power. I think the grappling game is what he should go towards here with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But this is just such a weird heavyweight fight. Don't really think it's the best one to bet because it is a tricky matchup. Both guys lagging in some areas, but also have definitely good skills as well. Tricky fight, very tricky fight. We're going Sakai, I think submission, but also half of me is going Jairzinho Rozenstruik by knockout. That's like 49%. The other 51% is Sakai by a submission. So take it as you will. This fight's going to be extremely close. Hopefully we get a more confident pick as the week goes on. But as of right now, I think Sakai slightly feeling the submission win if he doesn't get caught by Jairzinho and knocked out. Just would be a big risk to bet. I could see inside the distance, but I could also see it going 5 rounds. So as of right now, it's a tricky fight. But I think Sakai's submission win is the play in this one. We can look over more at the odds here. Definitely going to be some intriguing parlays you could intentionally play. If I'm going to parlay it up, I'd probably add in Jordan Levitt. Who else would I maybe play? I was feeling that confidence down. Tibura's another one. Dolidze. Definitely some plays here. Let me check out that live chat at the moment. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight, that main event one. Very, very, very interesting fight. And it's going to be tricky, but we'll see. Let's see if we were to parlay some things up early on in the week. How would they go? Well, let's say we're feeling confidence. I think we can all agree in Dolidze. At least some of you guys could. I feel like there's also some real confidence in Jordan Levitt early on in the night. Tom Breeze as well, plus 248 for these 3 fighters. This is interesting. Roman Dolidze, Jordan Levitt, and Tom Breeze. If you're looking to play something, I don't know, just an early stock that I think the favorites could cash. The most risky one would probably be Dolidze. Maybe you take them off and you play Levitt and Tom Breeze for a plus 112. I don't think that's bad at all, and I think that could definitely hit for you. Definitely a lot of potential in that one. If you are to add someone, we'll skip the women's MMA one because that could be tricky and could bite us. You know what? We'll throw Tibura on there, and then we'll add in the Lidze. It's a 4-fighter riskier parlay here. Jordan Levitt, Tom Breeze, Marcin Tibura, and Roman Dolidze. I think those are 4 favorites that could definitely cash and don't bring you the extreme risk of playing that main event. Sakai is the dog would bring it huge, but that's a risky one. Trinaldo versus Salikov. I don't know if that Trinaldo-Salikov fight is still on the card, is it? Because we didn't see it here. As of right now, Trinaldo Salikov is out. Yeah, they took it off, about rescheduled. So yeah, they definitely got some fights that got eliminated, unfortunately, but hopefully, maybe they add a couple fights or one fight really before the card comes out officially next week. Who knows? We could lose something too. We lost the Angela Hill fight. There was a good amount of fight that got lost here. I appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's live stream. Covered up that nice UFC Vegas 28. The early predictions. I had to do it. I had to come out early. Check out this live chat here. Yeah, I think De La Rosa is a very good play to win, but I will say it's women's MMA. It's high risk. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe. These are the early predictions. This week, we got some content coming out. We'll be doing tomorrow the XFC full card predictions. Then we'll also be talking about some of the main events in boxing this weekend. And there's definitely some CFFC action that we might end up covering if we have some time here. I appreciate everybody for being here. Smash that like button if you have not yet. I hope you guys enjoyed the early predictions and betting preview live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. For you guys live, thanks for chatting it up. If you're watching on replay, appreciate you for being here. Thank you all so much. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. And also follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will see you all in the next video.